Why am I so giddy during a half marathon? That's Travis Barker from Blink-182, and somehow I ended up running behind him for miles 4 to 5 at the Fontana Days run. I wasn't expecting to spend my race trailing a Rockstar and his entourage of bodyguards, but that's what happened. Welcome back to my channel. This race wasn't just about Blink-182 sightings or chasing PRs, it was about getting back on track after a rough start to the year. It was a test. Could I show up, perform under pressure, and not crumble under stress? The Fontana Days Run Half Marathon is one of the oldest and fastest marathons in the country with a net drop of over 2,125 feet. Thanks Google AI for doing the hard calculation, which turns out to be about 3% grade drop. That's steep and fast. This race is a build-up to the Revel Big Bear Marathon in November, and yes, that's me in the green tank on the social media ads. Good morning. It's June 2nd, 5 days away from the Fontana Days Run Half Marathon. I'm here on my final pre-workout run, which is a speed session. We're looking at 5 miles. So right now I'm doing my 1.5 miles of warm-up. Then I gotta do 2 sets of 5 minutes at half marathon pace, which is 7:45 to 7:50, and then a minute at 5K speed, which is 7 minutes to 7:20. So we got a big workout ahead of us. Pretty speedy. First 5 minutes down. I think I finished at around 7:38, under 7:40-ish. Second interval, second 5 minutes coming up. Second 5-minute interval done. I think I'm at the time goal. I didn't see my watch. So gonna recover, and then the fast 1-minute intervals. Taking another recovery break here. That was a fast one. I do like these short, fast intervals though. Short being the key word. How's that? Better than posters at a race? We got a giant dog there that says do great things. That's motivational. All right, that was my last speed interval. Actually the last speed interval before the race on Saturday. So getting ready for my cool down. I'll see you at the end. Whoa, that last quarter mile, I actually had to climb uphill. That was it's pretty steep uphill to end my 5-mile speed session. Luckily, the course is completely downhill, all of it. The challenge is going to be keeping a steady pace in the first 6 miles, because it's really easy to go down fast because the first 6 miles, there's a steep drop. And then the last half, it's more of a gentle decline. But if you went off too fast in the first half of the half marathon, you're gonna burn out your quads and it's gonna feel like running in molasses. At my last 2 half marathons, which were both downhill courses, I did 1:45 at Big Cottonwood half in September last year. And then the Big Bear Marathon, not marathon, became half marathon. I ran it in 1:43. My PR at Fontana was in 2023 at 1:41. It's a little ambitious, it's a little crazy, but I'm gonna set my goal to somewhere around 1:40. I definitely want to set a new PR. It is going to be challenging because I'm trying to work through some self-confidence issues after my last 2 full marathons, the Surf City and LA Marathon. Didn't quite go my way. Was feeling a little bit burnt out with marathon training, but I actually love the half marathon distance. That was the first major race distance that I had trained for. The 10K that I ran 11 years ago, I had gradually been working up to it, but the half marathon was something that was originally my big goal before I got the courage to work towards the marathon. June gloom. Yes, I hope the weather will be like this on race morning, but I don't think so. I already looked at the forecast. The forecast is saying it's going to be a warm Saturday morning, even though it's June or beginning of June in California, where typically we would have cooler weather before the heat wave of the middle of summer. Just try to keep it together. I'm currently listening to this audiobook called Calm Thee Down. It's a fun book to listen to. I highly recommend it. The flat lay for Fontana Days Run Half Marathon. This is an interesting color combination. The theme is groovy, so I was looking for neon. I don't really have neon color clothes in my wardrobe, but this is the best I could do. So there's a pink headband, this Lululemon shirt that I gotten from Seaweed's 2018. Still a great shirt. I'm gonna fasten it with these bib board snaps instead of pins, because With this shirt, I can already see some of the snags from previous pinning I've done. Of course, we have my energy gels, and then I'm gonna wear my Nike Vaporfly 3s. Yeah, interesting color combination. So it's party on top with the bright neon colors and business on the bottom with dark and primary colors. When you're at the beach, of course, you gotta pay for parking. It's June 6th. One day before the Fontana Days Half Marathon. Normally on Friday mornings, I would do my long runs. Yes, I do my long runs on Fridays. I know a lot of people do their long runs on either Saturday or Sunday, but that's how it works with my life. I'm in taper mode right now. However, instead of sleeping in because I don't have a long run, I got up early and I'm here at Newport Beach to go hang out with my friends. Yeah, it was a bit of a drive, but I'm here to beat my taper tantrums instead of sitting at home this morning doom scrolling or worrying about the race. Let's go have fun with my friends at the beach. Bit of a different vibe from what I'm used to, my usual Friday morning runs, but hey, what a great way to spend the day before the half marathon, right? Not a bad way to spend the day before the race. Instead of hitting the pavement, how about hitting the gentle waters of Newport Harbor? And don't worry, I didn't exert myself. My friend was gracious enough to let me sit on her paddleboard as she rode this extra dead weight. LOL. There was something calming about being on the waters and managing my anxiety every time we hit a wave. Just go with the wave, or else the both of us would have toppled into the water, and no, I'm not practicing for a triathlon. We spotted a sea lion resting, which is a reminder of how rest and recovery are key in long-distance running. I'm fascinated by these ornate homes on the water. Are they on VRBO? After an hour on the water with my friend paddling us, it was time to turn in. And then we had a carb-heavy lunch at the Lighthouse Cafe. That balance, the fun, the fuel, the people is what keeps pressure from becoming stress. There was 5 of us sharing a plate of a dozen beignets. I got the special of the day, which was French toast with mascarpone and berry compote. This is how to fuel for a race while sitting on the beach. Well, that was a lovely time hanging out with my friends. I haven't seen them in a while. And then just being out on the water, even though I didn't really paddleboard and I was more of dead weight for my friend who was doing the paddling, but still felt a lot better, and this is putting me in a good mindset for tomorrow's race. That's the nice thing about tapering. So yeah, normally I wouldn't have been able to make it out here on Friday mornings because that's when I do my long runs, but since I'm tapering and I don't have a long run, it gave me the opportunity to come out here and hang out with my friends, be on the water, and have a great brunch. In the end, I spent more time sitting through traffic to get home than it would take me to run the half marathon. That's Southern California for you. Up-to-date race weather check. It's looking promising as it would stay relatively cool during the start at 7 a.m. and then through most of the morning. This is so nice. This must be the new parking structure. I don't remember this from my past experience at Fontana Days Run, and I remember they had construction in this area last year. But look at this finished product. And best of all, I didn't have to pay for parking. That's always great when you can go to a race and don't have to pay for parking. It's 5:10 a.m. I'm gonna go pick up my bib and then hop on the shuttle, 13.1 mile ride up to Lytle Creek. You guys may remember that last year I fell at this race trying to go for a PR and I fell really early. This year, I'm trying to practice a better mindset. I was finishing up listening to that book, The Brave Athlete, Calm Thee Down. And they talked about pressure versus stress. A lot of times we put a lot of pressure on ourselves and hence that creates stress when there truly really isn't any pressure at all. They talk about juice. They define pressure as a juice. J is for judgment. No one is judging me. I'm no professional athlete with a shoe sponsorship on the line. U is for uncertainty. I am certain I can finish the course because I did it last year with my knees bleeding and a sprained ankle after the fall. I is for importance. This race is not important because the NYC Marathon is no longer accepting half marathon times. C is for competition. I'm not competing against anybody. There's no way I was catching up with my faster friends. E is for expectations. I don't have anybody else setting high expectations for me other than myself. So really, this is a low stakes type race. This isn't high stakes. So first of all, this isn't a BQ attempt. At the end of the day, this is a build-up for Big Bear in November, and that may or may not be a BQ attempt. Anyways, this is a low-stakes race. The only pressure I'm facing is that I need to be able to stand on 2 feet at the end of the race because I do have an overnight shift after this. Okay, so that's really the only pressure, just to be able to be well enough to work tonight's shift. So I see more people pulling in. Let's go out there, get my bib, and hop onto that shuttle. This is the first downhill for the morning, just getting out of the parking lot. See, didn't fall. I love it. This is such a beautiful parking structure. They really got the groovy thing going on here. And here we are, bib pickup. All right, that looks correct.
Perfect.
Now I'm gonna go pick up my t-shirt. All right, great. Oh. Too many things. Okay, great, thank you. Okay, I gotta get myself together here, pin up my bib and drop off my stuff. There's my bib, and I'm gonna use these snap fasteners to save my shirt. I'm gonna drop my bag off. It's 5:34, right on schedule, just dropped off my bib. Now let's get onto the shuttle.
For a local race, they do a good job of getting us bussed up to the start. I've never had an issue with the transportation.
Good morning, woo!
Here's a preview of the course as we're driving to the start. It's about a 25-minute drive and gives me time to relax and get into the racing mindset. Nothing like leaving civilization behind and going up into the San Bernardino National Forests. It's also a good time for me to talk about the different goals I have for this race. My A goal, as I mentioned before, is 140. Yes, super ambitious after coming off of 2 disappointing marathon finishes earlier this year. B goal is a sub 145. This is somewhat more realistic and would depend on me feeling strong and disciplined to hold a steady pace. It's not out of the question and is somewhat attainable. C goal is a sub 150. From my experiences last year with the downhill races, I was able to finish under 150. Hey, you have to set some reachable goals or else you'll feel like a failure for not meeting any of your goals. Of course, the big goal is not to fall like last year. I think I'm still a little traumatized from the fall. Before I knew it, we made it to the start. Wow, what a smooth ride. Just as smooth as being on the water yesterday at Newport Harbor. You know by now I can't turn down a freebie, and there was someone handing out free sunglasses as we got off the bus.
Wow, free sunglasses. I guess I'll put this in my back pocket of my flip belt. I wasn't planning on another pair of sunglasses. Could have used this back at Big Bear when I did lose my sunglasses at the start line. Where not to put your sunglasses? Not in the porta potty. Nope, that's not mine. That was somebody ahead of me in the porta potty.
Since I had extra time, I decided to partake in a bit of forest bathing to calm my nerves down. Hey, we are in the middle of a forest.
I got over here without falling. Definitely don't want to fall into the water. Oh, that's so pretty.
This is different than Newport Harbor, but there's something about seeing water that soothes me.
All right, I accomplished my first mission, which was to take a photo by the creek without falling into the water. People moving up there. I guess it's time to head over to the start. It's 6:48. Got 12 more minutes. And this is me being groovy.
I think that's more like 80s glam rock.
Yes, beware of rumble strip. Don't want to trip like last year. I'm not going to be doing much recording while running downhill. I really got to focus. Yeah, focus because I don't want a repeat of what happened last time. So if you happen to see me break out my camera in the middle of the run, that means I've fallen. So let's not do that.
What's up with that big boom up front? Seems kind of a fancy camera and sound setup for a race that starts in the mountains. Is that right? My Apple Watch is saying that we're at 3,289 feet elevation. There's something about waiting around for the start that is nerve-wracking. I don't like rushing into the start either because I do need a few minutes to compose myself, but I also don't like standing around too long. We were supposed to start at 7 a.m. sharp.
It's 7:10. The suspense is killing me.
Then we've all found out why there was a delay. Turns out that Fontana native Blink-182 drummer Travis Barker was going to join us for the half marathon. I had seen on social media he was going to run, but I thought he was going to run the 5K like he had at the Dodger Stadium 5K before the LA Marathon in March. About 4 miles in, I wasn't feeling that this was going to be a PR day. My low back was aching and my glutes didn't have the power to keep propelling me. However, I heard the thunderous footsteps and found myself behind Travis Barker and his bodyguard's entourage passing me. Instead of throwing something on the Blink-182 concert stage, my headband fell. This was the closest I was going to get to a celebrity, and Travis paced me for the next mile as I was snapping out of a funk that I had gotten into, knowing that today was not a day for a PR. I wanted 140, that was the A goal. That didn't happen. I also wanted to stay behind Travis as long as possible, but he sped up in mile 6 and I knew I would burn my quads out if I tried to keep up with him and his bodyguards. Or maybe his bodyguards would have shooed me away for the final photo finish. But by mile 8, I knew it was slipping. A few months ago, that realization would have wrecked me. I would have spiraled. But this time, I'd stayed in it. I adjusted. I didn't panic. No shame in walking through the aid station at the even miles. My low back loosened up, my glutes relaxed. Sometimes you just need time to collect yourself. I needed those breaks, and I found myself passing some people who had passed me earlier on the course. That quick little recovery period was just like my speed session. People don't realize that downhill racing is taxing on the body for different reasons, but I made it to the finish.
That was a hot one. Definitely didn't hit my A goal. I hit my C goal, maybe. But the main thing is I didn't fall, and I got to see Travis Barker. I ran behind him for a mile. Oh, that was easy. Got my bag pretty quickly. Now let's see what the official time is. That's easy. At least I'm number 1 on this page. 1:46.36. Not the greatest time, but I'll take it.
Correction, chip time was 1:46.18. This is somewhere in the middle of the times I've ran on this course. In the last 2 marathons, I felt defeated in the last several miles. This time, around mile 8, I felt like I hit a flow state. Granted, my ambitious time goal was gone, but I felt comfortably uncomfortable. It wasn't the pace I was hoping for, but it was workable and still faster than a normal day on tired legs.
There he is, Travis Barker. Wow, that is awesome. He is fast.
He ran it at 1:41. Hey, that's about the same time as my PR on the course. Too bad it was not my day today to keep up with him like the What's My Age Again music video. Let's check out the post-race expo.
All right, cool, yay, wow. And it's a juicer too, so juice and go. Yes, more free samples. Woohoo!
So this is prickly pear cactus water.
Cheers to prickly pear juice. No alcohol. I meant to say no caffeine, but definitely no alcohol.
Instead of Blink-182 merch at a concert, there was Run Travis Run merch. Looks like he's getting into the wellness industry?
Don't mind if I do.
Yeah,
woohoo!
Watching the final runners come in always grounds me. These folks, they're the heart of the race too. Some are finishing their first 5K, some walked the whole way. Some are running slower than they hoped, but they showed up. They crossed the same finish line, and that's what matters.
Well, the good news is that my quads are okay, so I guess I will be walking into work tonight instead of hobbling. And the beautiful parking structure, which makes parking at this race a lot easier now. What a race, what a race. Did hit my A goal of a 140, but that was a moonshot. It was very ambitious. Barely missed my B goal, which was to be a sub 145. But hey, at least I hit my C goal, which was a sub 150. And more importantly, I didn't fall, and I still had a great time. Today did feel a little tougher. I think it's because of the humidity. Today felt more humid than in past Fontana Days runs. So I just adapted to it. Just run with how I felt, which was, just to run to be uncomfortably comfortable. I still have plenty of time before Big Cottonwood in September, which is more of a steep downhill course. So we'll see how my quads handle it. And then, of course, Big Bear in November. Still, I'm happy with the last 5K of the course, because traditionally the last 5K of the course, my legs feel like they're stuck in molasses because it's not as steep. Even though you're still going downhill, it feels flat, or even worse, uphill, because it's not as steep going down. I try to put those lessons I learned from the book, The Brave Athlete, Calm Thee Down. Try to recognize what's real pressure and what's real stress. At the end of the day, there's really no pressure for this race. Just go out there and have fun. I don't have anything riding on the line here. After all, it's about the long-term goals, which is to continue to keep moving well into my 40s and 50s and 60s. With that said, I'm going to go home, relax, relive my high school days by playing some of my favorite Blink-182 songs. All the small things, truth cares, truth brings. Okay, this is not a karaoke bar. All right, I'm taking off. I'll see you next time in my next vlog.
That's my official time, and when you put it in the race predictor calculator, I have another shot of getting a sub-4 marathon finish in November. This makes me feel hopeful. Then maybe I'll be ready for a serious BQ attempt in a future training cycle. As I mentioned before, downhill racing takes a different toll on your body, and I want to focus more on strength training for the next race so I don't fatigue early in the course. Moving into the future, I'm going to take more of these lessons from the book and put it into practice. I want to become a more mentally resilient runner. I didn't have my usual bad self-talk when my race goal was disappearing at mile 6. Instead, I could focus on finishing the race and try to figure out what I need to improve on for the Big Cottonwood Half and Big Bear Marathon. Running isn't about PRs. It's learning how to manage the pressure juice of judgment, uncertainty, importance, competition, expectations. If you ever had a race that didn't go your way, or if you're rebuilding from burnout, know this: you're not alone, you're not broken, and there's still time to grow before a Big Bear in November.